It was a beautiful winter day. Jorman and Sandra merely needed groceries that morning, and they decided to go out and acquire them. On their way home, tragedy would befall them when arthritis would go through Jorman's hand so bad when he was in the middle of a turn, he would end up crashing into a lamppost. Ambulances needed to come out to help rescue what was remained of them, so they may go and be saved. Hello, Karothku. I'm your host, Karothkin. I'm back to tell more stories again. After a long hiatus, I'm hoping you can all appreciate. My daughter is now 20 months, and I am happy to begin telling stories again. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that I wrote when I was a child, based off of a poem. So, tonight I present to you, Tonight I Sleep. Jorman and Sandra now sit in their hospital beds, holding hands, hoping that they will be okay, but knowing that they will not. They look at their two beautiful children next to them, Karen and Edward. Jorman looks over to his wife, Sandra, and says, "Does this need to be the end for us? Would you want this to be our last days?" Sandra, not knowing how to reply, "Where else would we end up ending, my sweet? We have the love of our daughter and our son right with us." "But would you not want to start again? And for all of this to be just the beginning of our love?" Sandra looks at Jorman with nothing but love in her eyes and curiosity. "Do your plan, my husband. That is all I've ever wanted." Jorman looks over at his son Edward. "Please, get for me the priest of the Arjan Temple. He will be able to accomplish my goal here. He shall be able to get us another chance." "Of course, Father. Whatever you need." Karen looks at both of them. "Whatever you're planning, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to have anything to do with some unholy Arjan." The Arjan came in. Karen looked at both of them. "I will not be a part of this. I will refuse that you two should end your life and then be reborn again. One life is for one time and one time only." Karen marched out of the hospital room, being unable to accept the terms that Jorman and Sandra have laid out for themselves. Edward, holding Jorman's hand, said, "I will talk to her. Don't worry, Father. She will see someday." Jorman smiles at his son. "I know you are very persuasive. I know you will ensure she will see this is what your mother and I requested." "I will, my father." Edward left the room. The Arjan takes his hat off of his head, exposing his third eye as it glows and glints in both of their faces. "To both of you, I bestow a curse. If you find it a blessing, be that yours. This curse will doom the two of you to eternally be reborn together in this same timeline, in this same eras, so the two of you may find each other and have your souls do as they have done in this life, in every other life. You will never find rest beyond this. You will never find peace beyond the peace you two shall bring together. This is not a blessing, but a curse." The third eye of the Arjan ceases its glowing. He puts his hat back on his head. Doing his deed, he leaves the room. That evening, both Sandra and Jorman sign DNCs, do not resuscitate orders, so they may find their end in peace. They unhook their own heart monitors to ensure they don't bother the nurses. Sandra, knowing how to do it from years of medical schooling before, their injuries are so grave from the accident that day, they do not believe they will make it through the night as is. So they take the painkillers provided and allow themselves to fall into a deep sleep. In their sleep, they dream of all the memories they've had together. At times at the beach, times when their children were born. And they loved every moment of it together. Their dreams fade. The night ends. Edward and Karen come in the next day. Their bodies are cold, lifeless. The ghosts, the specters of Sandra and Jorman, that would be expected to be seen at the foot of their beds, are missing. They are nowhere. Their souls, their essence, is gone, and is somewhere else. At the funeral, they would expect once again to see the specters. They are nowhere. Karen looks at Edward. Why did you do this? It's because it's what my parents asked of us, and they would have wanted you to accept it. Please, don't be mad at me, and more so, don't be mad at them. I don't think I can talk to you ever again. She stomps off. Years would pass. Karen would have a kid, naming him Jorman. He was like his grandfather in every way, a spitting image. No memory of Jorman in his life. No memory of anything that has come before. Nevertheless, was exactly like him, deciding to grow up and be a carpenter, working with wood, changing the texture of it, and claiming there's something inside the wood that is calling out to me. And he molds it and shapes it in his hands and is able to make beautiful art. Somewhere else in the same city, there's a little girl that is born, also named Sandra. She is exactly like the Sandra of old, looking exactly like her, having no memories, but still having the same dedication to helping people live in this strange, strange world of theirs. Helping them, and deciding from a very young age to be a nurse. Years would pass. Time would go on. The two of them would get older and older, always feeling like something inside of them was missing, always feeling like a part of them was detached and longing to find something. Eventually, in high school, Jorman would find Sandra. Both of them already attuned to their traits that they were in life. Sandra attuned to the idea of helping people. Jorman finding the beauty in the mundane. Him taking pictures of some pile of rubble, trash, out in the back of shop class. He ends up scratching himself and going to the nurse's office. Sandra being a TA at the nurse's office, bandaging him up, doing an excellent job, making the nurse proud. They exchange numbers, and their love begins all over again. Karen, intimidated by the way this new Sandra looks to her Jorman, she tries to fight their love, tries to push it away, tries to tell them, it's just a high school fling, Jorman. You can't let this rule your life. But he doesn't listen. He refuses. He knows that something inside of him is calling him and telling him Sandra is the woman he's meant to be with. Karen refuses. Karen refuses every step of the way. Even to the point to call her brother Edward, after all these years of not talking with him. My son found a girl named Sandra. What do you make of that? Good. You should let the two of them be together. You shouldn't stop this. This is potentially our parents reuniting. You should not be an obstacle in their way. I refuse to let this happen. I will never let the two of them be together. She hangs up the phone. With newfound determination in her blood, she tries her best to make the two of them struggle to stay together. Their love for each other and the curse that the Arjan have laid upon them helps fuel their passion for one another and their determination to stay together. And like it would with any couple, a parent's refusal only fuels their passion for each other even more. They end up finding times and ways to get together, even finding ways to sneak to the Arjan temple together and being together in the days and in the evenings to stay away from the vampires and the werewolves that haunt the night. It's always been a safe place for those of the living. The two of them never part and grow together. They reach out to Edward themselves, telling Edward, I don't know if we are the reincarnation of your parents, but we want to be together. Will you help us? Edward happily accepting both of them into his life. Sandra and Jorman, in their new forms, shall be together and have a new love. Their love has the same struggles as any love has through life. Finances, sickness. They find a way together to make it through, to have a new life together, and to find themselves back in the situation they were in before, again, with two children at their deathbed, and wanting to ensure their love will continue. This time, the Arjan came in and said, what you ask of me has already been done. The two of you will be eternally bound together. I hope you enjoy your fate. The Arjan this time leaves, disappointed that it couldn't reply and do the rites that it was requested to do by the living. And so these two souls, Jorman and Sandra, will be together forever through an infinite number of lives and never part. I hope you liked my story. I have a lot of other stories in the same world if you want to see that. It's Vampires Plus Humans. If you enjoyed what you like, please like, subscribe, and follow me. I have an entire playlist of other stories in this universe that if you're interested in, try to solve the riddles, try to follow along.